I'm a full-time Etsy seller and Etsy advice content creator, so let's go to Reddit and answer some questions from the r/EtsySellers subreddit. First question, only posted 7 minutes ago. Charging for shipping or increased product cost for free shipping? This is actually a good question. So they're saying that the shipping cost for their product is going to be right under $4, and that's what they plan on charging. But they have a friend who said that it's better to up the cost of their product and then give free shipping. Then they gave an example if the product was $20 and it would be $24 with free shipping. So in my experience with this, and from what I've seen as well, your average order value is going to be very low if you do this because people are only going to buy the one item because they get free shipping. So if you do the free shipping with 35 or over, then people will probably buy more than one item to reach that free shipping threshold. And it's going to cost the customer more money because the shipping cost for 2 items is likely not going to be double the shipping cost. So if it's 2 items that are relatively light, it's not going to be $8 to ship it. It's going to be more like the $4 still. So I would not do that in the vast majority of situations. The only time I would ever do free shipping on every order is if you were doing stickers or something like that that's very, very small and you can ship with the 55-cent label. That's if you're in the US. Next question. The title of their post is just, I need you to ship it to a different address. Big yikes, especially if you are this person. Okay, let me read what they said. So after looking through this sub, I don't see anything on this topic. I've been selling online for about 20 years, recently opened a shop on Etsy. I sell a rather expensive item with an average sales price of about $2,100. From what I can determine from their policy, Etsy really has no seller protection for anything over $250. Got my first sale on Etsy and the customer says she put the wrong address and needs me to ship to a different address. As a rule, we only ship to the address on the invoice, and this request sounded odd, especially since we didn't vet the customer. Etsy's customer policy says to contact the seller to change the address, but Etsy's seller policy says only to ship to the address on the invoice. The impression I got after chatting with customer service was you're on your own, so we decided to cancel the sale. So this seller did the right thing. I would 110% cancel that order if the customer was asking me to ship any item to a different address, let alone one that's over $2,000. And they are correct, Etsy's seller policy does say that you have to ship to the address on the order. When they place the order, something with the insurance is only for that address. So if you send it somewhere else, it's not going to compute somehow. I'm not exactly sure how it works on the back end, but you should only ship to the address that they have provided already. And while you physically can change the address, you should not. Unfortunately, that happens all the time with Etsy because for some reason it likes to change the address on you when you check out as a buyer. Or if you use like PayPal or your Apple Pay or something, it sometimes changes the address without you really realizing it. That has happened to me when I've bought with PayPal and I had recently moved and it auto-filled my old address. Most of the time it's going to be an honest mistake, but sometimes it could be a scam because the customer is going to receive their item and begin using it and then say they never received the item and you should send a new one or send a refund. So don't be messing with that. Just cancel it and have them resubmit the order. Traffic drops to almost 0 after turning off Etsy ads. They said, I just started my Etsy shop 3 months ago in the digital wall art category. For the last 2 months, I used Etsy ads to boost traffic to my shop during the festive season. Etsy ads attribute to 50 to 60% of my traffic. The rest are from the Etsy app, search, and direct. I would have around 600 monthly visits, so 20 visits per day on average from 80 listings. However, since the cost for Etsy ads was abysmal, I had decided to turn it off this week and aim to further optimize my SEO. My SEO is not amazing, but I think they're at least on point. After they turned off the Etsy ads, their daily views and traffic was almost 0. I'm constantly putting out new listings and diversifying my tags, but I don't know what else I could do. I intend to build Instagram and Pinterest accounts for more traffic, but that's about it. Is this normal for stats this time of the year, or is Etsy suppressing my shop to push me to spending more on ads? Is there any way to get my shop higher in the search results? So this happens. This is a thing that happens. Like in their last paragraph there, it does seem that Etsy is suppressing their shop because they turned off ads and aren't paying them for them anymore. But I think it's more complicated than that, although that is a pretty easy explanation. Basically, when you turn on Etsy ads, you are effectively doubling your listings. So if you have listings A, B, and C, and somebody searches for a term that may come up with listings A, B, and C, then they are going to see, well, they're likely to see your ad and the original listing. So your ad effectively doubles the listing. So when you turn off the ads, you are no longer doubling your listings. So that is giving you less traffic, like at least half right off the bat. And then since the listings are getting less traffic, they are going to get less traffic going forward because the algorithm is kind of like the snowball effect. So if you're getting a lot of traffic and a lot of sales, you're going to get more and more. But if you are getting less traffic, whether that is from something you changed in SEO or if you turned off the ads, then the algorithm is going to think that something is wrong and that's not a good listing anymore, so it's going to not push it as high in the search results. So I would be very careful about using ads and make sure that you are okay with spending that amount indefinitely, because once you turn them off, then it's really hard to recover. So just like the other comments in this thread, the only way that they're really going to be able to fix that is if they start pushing on social media and getting traffic from somewhere else. They also said that they are changing their SEO, so they may have done a lot of their listings at once, which you don't particularly want to do, because you could have taken out a keyword that was good and replaced it with something that's not good. And that's going to be a bigger hit if you have done them all at once, because it does take some time for the algorithm to kind of figure out where they go and how good those keywords are related to other products. Next question, is it even worth using keywords such as Valentine's Day gift or gift for her that is hugely oversaturated? I want to advertise for Valentine's Day and upcoming holidays, but I'm not sure if the tags are too cluttered. So this is a bit tricky. Personally, I only would use tags like that if you absolutely cannot think of all 13 to use. But it is not impossible to rank for those kind of tags, even though most people probably aren't searching those. It seems weird to me that somebody would go looking for a gift and type in gift for her. Like, if your significant other is trying to find you a Valentine's Day gift and they are trying to find a quote-unquote gift for her, that seems like a problem. Like, they don't know what you like. So I would probably do Valentine's Day gift for this situation, but I would not do gift for her. All right, here's a quick one. So regarding variations, I am offering a 3-candle bundle where my customers can pick and choose what candle scents they want. I can't figure out under the variations how my clients can pick more than one, as I need them to pick 3. So the only way to do this for them to be able to pick 3 would be to make a personalization box, so you can click add personalization when you're making the listing, and they'll just have to type it in, and you'll have to manually, like if you keep track of your inventory outside of Etsy or even within Etsy, you'll just have to manually go back and remove those from your inventory or mark them as sold when they order the bundle. I have done listings like this myself, and it is very helpful for you and the customer. If you have photos, make a collage of the different choices and then number them. So the customer can, all they have to do is just type in the numbers. So like, I want number 1, 5, and 9, instead of having to type out whatever the candle scent or color of the thing is. Okay, this one actually happened to me, and I posted about it in my community tab, but just in case you didn't see that. So they said, can a customer open a case for an item that says delivered but not received by them? This is the second customer in 2 days that messaged me and said their package didn't arrive, but the tracking shows delivered. One is an international buyer, so they'd have to pay a lot out of pocket to send out a new product. The other customer, they just don't want to replace. She already left a 1-star review. Question is, if I refuse to help them, can they open a case with Etsy when Etsy actually refund them? The labels were purchased from Etsy and include tracking with USPS that shows delivered. So this happens all the time. Like, it happens to me several times a year, not even just around the holidays, even though that's when it happens the most. Sometimes the post office will scan it as delivered before they actually deliver it, so it may be a day or two afterwards. Like sometimes the package gets lost, like it ends up behind the bushes in front of their house or accidentally given to the neighbor and porch pirates. And sometimes people actually did receive it. But as of sometime late last year, Etsy has a new policy where if the order is under $250, they will handle the refund if this happens. So I have not had this happen to me where the customer just wanted a refund and not a replacement. But there was one instance where I actually contacted USPS and they got back to me pretty quickly and said that they confirmed that the package was stolen, and I sent a screenshot of that to Etsy support and they issued me a refund for, or basically they reimbursed me is the correct term. They reimbursed me for the customer's order value, so that way I was not out the money for the replacement product and the shipping cost. And it really frustrates me that a lot of shops and other businesses don't do this, but it is much easier to contact USPS about a missing package if the seller does it, because you can describe what the package looks like, what was in it, what color it was, what size it was, and all that stuff. The customer has no idea. So you can put that information in and it will help the post office to be able to find the item. And I actually saw, I think one of you commented and said that it had, like the package had fell underneath the seat in the truck and they were able to find it. So if that ever happens, go to USPS's website and then find the missing mail search. And sometimes they can confirm that they did deliver it to the customer's address. Like, I think it will give, like their little scanner thing will give like an exact location when it was scanned. So they will know that it was dropped off, so if the customer is lying or if it was stolen by a porch pirate. Okay, I have never heard of this happening. So if this happens to you, here you go. Well, I never heard of this happening in my area, I should say, so I haven't had to deal with it personally. But they said, help, USPS closed all their locations due to weather and I have orders to ship. So this person lives in Minnesota and they closed 75 post offices because of the weather. The town they live in, all the surrounding towns are closed. They would have to drive an hour and a half to drop off at the closest open post office. And they're weighing their options of going with UPS instead of USPS for the ones that they haven't confirmed yet. Yeah, I would not do that. So if you did not already know this, or if you haven't like started shipping orders yourself or something, if you get an order on Etsy, you can go into when you view the orders, there's the little 3 dots on the right hand side. You can update the ship by date. So that will essentially extend your processing time and will not count against you for shipping things on time if you ship by that date, of course. You can only do this once for each order, so use it wisely. And you can put in a message to the customer that says, hey, the post offices in my area are closed due to severe weather. I will ship your order as soon as they open back up. I'm sure 99% of people are going to be okay with that, because if the post office wasn't closed, it's probably going to be delayed anyways if there's that bad weather. At least they figured out ahead of time that the post office was closed, because I probably would have tried to drive out there and not been able to ship things. So actually, wait a minute, you can only do that if you have not marked it as shipped yet. So if you haven't printed the label or anything, you can delay the processing time, but you would have to just message the buyer individually and say, hey, this is going to take a few extra days because the post office is closed. All right, this is a good one to end on, so let's go for it. So they said, bad for business, good for my health, LOL, does anyone else do this? Curious if anyone else does this. Does anyone on here deny making a certain person a client of yours if they're a tad bit draining? I feel like if I'm going to make a custom handmade things to give to people, I'd rather just sell it to the people who I think would actually appreciate the work I put in instead of viewing it as a novelty. Does anyone else do this, or do you guys just say F it and let's make money? That took me, okay, I understand what they said now. So this is from my personal experience, like on and off of Etsy. So I have one of those skills that people love to take advantage of. Like the second people find out that I know how to sew, they're like, can you hem my pants? Can you do this? Can you make me a dress? Can you make me a quilt? If I said yes to all of those, yeah, I would have pulled all of my hair out by now. Most of the time, the things people are asking for are not worth the time. Like the money that I would get for making the things they're asking for is not worth the time that it would take to make that thing. And I have also very early on in my career, I guess you could say, before I even started an Etsy shop, I would have people contact me about making things for them. People that I knew in person in real life would contact me and ask me for things, and then I would make it, and then they would just never get back to me about arranging a time to meet up to like receive the thing and pay me, you know. I say no to the vast majority, I would say like 99% of the requests I get for custom things. So for my shop in particular, people will ask me to make them things with like Star Wars or like Harry Potter and stuff like that, which I am not making anything Harry Potter. If you know, you know. I can't, because business-wise it would not make sense. So I'm not about to be selling like intellectual property stuff on Etsy. I don't want to get into that can of worms, especially Harry Potter. They are very strict about that copyright. But first of all, like licensed fabric costs way more than non-licensed fabric, and I cannot buy it at wholesale because I'm not going to buy enough to justify getting like a whole roll of something. So it's going to cost me probably at least 5 or 6 times the amount that it would cost to buy my regular materials at wholesale. So I'm already on the verge of losing money at that point. If I'm not making any profit, I am definitely losing. And even if I had the customer like pay the extra for what it would cost, I am not comfortable with doing that. I've had people offer to send me fabric as well, but I don't want to deal with trying to coordinate that, like having them mail it to me, because that's going to take hours of my time at least, and I could be doing other things and making a lot more money than that with those hours than I could with saying yes to every little thing that people ask me to make. And for the most part, I enjoy what I do because I only make things that I enjoy making. So if somebody else asks me to make something that I'm not particularly interested in, I'm not going to like it very much. And the ones that I say yes to are almost always people that I have worked with in the past in the context of like them being a customer of mine. And I will have them pay up front, and I will not start even buying materials if I need extra materials until I get that payment. Or sometimes it will be something that I think is a good idea and I want to add it to the shop. So there's at least one item that I have added to my shop because somebody requested it, which it was just a different print, like something like I had this fabric design available in a different kind of product, but they were like, hey, can you make this kind of product with that? And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea, I'll do that. And then I added that as a regular item to my shop, and I sold dozens more after that. So that ended up being a good one. This was just a filler episode in the middle of my How to Start an Etsy Shop series. So if you're interested in that, I'll have the playlist linked in the description. And let me know if you like this kind of video answering questions, because I think sometimes you may not know what questions to ask, or you're like, oh, that's a good idea, I'll remember that for when it happens to me. But I can definitely do more of these. There's a lot of questions on that subreddit, and I just sorted by the ones that were the most recent. That's it for me today. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.